Hey guys, what's going on? So this is going to be kind of a 2-for-1 video. You guys are getting spoiled in this one. We got an update on the Regal and the Chevy Lumina. Well, it's been not too shabby fixing these things. I really thought it'd be a lot more of a challenge, but so far it's been, both of them have not fought me at all, and it's been pretty easy. So they both run great, and it's been pretty good. The Lumina is definitely the more hurt out of the two, and had do a few things that may have made it even weaker, but I had to do it to save me clearances and stuff like that, so it is what it is. So I guess let's start with the Lumina here, since it's right in front of us. The bumper, I am leaving this bumper on. This car really doesn't deserve a new bumper to be put on, and I hate to see that, but with the way it's bending, guys, man, is it starting to really kink. We have a really strange kink right there. Obviously, it's bent at the firewall back there. I got this side bending on over here. It's starting to kick up. So, yeah, I just put one of my radiators I had sitting around. Hopefully, it's freaking good. If not, we'll be gluing that one back together and crossing our fingers. The radiator fan survived for the most part. It does have a crack right there, which I may epoxy, I'm not sure yet, just to get it to hold on for a little bit longer. Overall, you guys have seen the aftermath video on this thing. Really, it has not changed. No, I did not touch the back end this time around, and I'm going to actually jack this thing up and try to pull that rubber, or the tire off itself, and leave just the rim, because honestly, it's not doing anything, this rubber is, and it's just going to get more or less in the way. So as it is already, and this, you could see this back end is just the trailing arm is broken, so it's pretty done for in the back end, guys. This thing's in pretty bad shape, a little bit worse than I even thought. So I took the trunk off because it was starting to block the view, and honestly, it's not really doing anything at this point. So it's basically, that's where we're at right now. Could I get a few more shots out of the back end? Oh yeah, I could. Definitely on this side. This side's still got a little bit of life left in it. It's just starting to blow out the seam where they normally do, as you guys may have saw in the video, but you guys can see there the floor is really starting to come up, and I got to really make sure I don't take too many hard shots in the back of this car, or else she's really going to start to belly out, and it's not going to be good. But I have it all torn apart right now, so you guys can't really see it, but it runs great, obviously, still, and I'm excited to derby this car. So it really hasn't changed much from the aftermath video, honestly. It's not there. I knew there was a little bit less to do on this than there was on the Regal. Well, let's move on to the Regal then. Well, that looks quite different, doesn't it? Heck yeah. We got a nice bumper on there, being a Ford Freestyle bumper. I know some of you guys are probably saying, why the heck would you put a Ford Freestyle bumper on a car that was that tough in the front end and everything else, and blah, blah, blah. You know, you should have put a big old bumper on there. Well, one, I don't have one. Trying to get one at the junkyard is tough, and I'm not spending the money on a, I'm not spending $200 on a bumper for this car. It's a bone stock car. So at the end of the day, this Ford Freestyle bumper is gonna do just fine. I've had very good luck with them, as you guys know from watching this channel. I've had pretty darn good luck with these Ford Freestyle bumpers. This one is welded on. These crush boxes are absolutely mangled. There's no way I was gonna be able to bolt one on. Don't really look at it. It's not very pretty, but we got it welded on there, so it's gonna stay, hopefully. You guys actually won't be seeing this video probably until after Sanfilippo, so this car will already be smashed by the time you guys see this video. This car is actually going to be running on Sunday, I think. That's basically where I'm at right now. I think I want to run this car second, and the reason for that is because the Lumina's actually in worse shape. And even though you may look at those crush boxes and say, oh man, that's in pretty rough shape, the crush boxes are really not representing the frame on this car. And as you guys saw in the aftermath video, if you watched the aftermath video, the frame rails are starting to kick up, but that's a good thing. We like kicking up. We don't like kicking down. The radiator in there is doing okay. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. It runs great. I don't know how it's running almost better than what it did before the Derby. I don't know. It must have liked the heat or something. Blew the cobwebs out of it or something. But yeah, it's doing pretty good. This back end we did pull out quite a bit. A lot of the metal just tore right apart, unfortunately. So this side is pretty hard kicked still into the body. But you guys can see there where it's all been torn apart. I am going to jack this up and beat on this with a hammer a few more times just to make sure it stays out of there for as long as possible. It's going to be back into that tire pretty quick, but whatever. It's really going to be the front end of these two cars that are really going to be the weapon. But fuel cell's doing great. I can't tell anything going on with it that's any bad or anything like that, so we've done pretty good there. Do have a slight fuel leak I found with this setup right here. I just got to tighten those two hose clamps right there. I guess they weren't tight enough. Luckily it's a barbed fitting, so it didn't come off, and I would have never seen it come off because it was so dark out that night. Under here we've made quite a bit of progress, and I want to actually address something for anybody that's curious. You guys will see I've got a new oil filter on this thing. We were hitting with the oil filter, and maybe I'll even walk over there and show you guys what the old oil filter looks like. It's in real bad shape. But there's the new oil filter. You'll notice it's much shorter. Well, unfortunately, when I was looking through conversion charts, I did not see that this filter was on there, and not only that, it wasn't on there, and frustrating enough, but I ended up putting a PF47E, which is exactly what the newer style 3100 takes, and it fit just fine. I don't understand why that wasn't on the conversion charts, but when I looked up smaller conversion to from PF52, which is the same thing that goes on a 350 TBI in your Chevy trucks and stuff like that, this is the same filter but smaller. So it's just frustrating that I didn't see that earlier, because I definitely would have not ran that PF52, because I have a bunch of these laying around, since a lot of the cars I drive take PF47E. But overall, everything's doing pretty good. I did take all the fan wiring out. This car is not going to be running a cooling fan, unfortunately, but there's just not, it's just no room for one, really, as far as, there's no mounting. There's room, but there's no mounting brackets, because the mounting bracket that used to go on this car doesn't fit anymore, and it really, when I tried to put this radiator back in, it wasn't having it. So we're going to run without a cooling fan on this one. I'm not sure how that's going to affect it or not, but whatever. It's got no thermostat in it, so hopefully it stays cold enough for long enough. These motors are known to do they're halfway decent with heat. We found that out with this one. I don't think it really got all that hot, actually, to be honest with you, but so yeah, I think the Regal turned out really good. Let me go ahead and show you that oil filter real quick. But yeah, these cars are basically ready to go for Sanfilippo. We don't need anything special. We just need something that runs, you know. So and that's going to do halfway decent. At least both of them will do halfway decent. There's your oil filter. You guys will see here. It's been, I really don't know how this thing didn't leak. It really is amazing. Shout out to GM with their PF52E. Man, they even though it's made in China, I gotta tell you, this thing bent and did not rip. Very impressive. So props to that filter. It saved me. So fortunately, the Lumina has no issues with oil filters or anything like that, and it's got plenty of room. It will be getting its cooling fan, like I said before, back in, but yeah, so that's our two-part video. But the Lumina is running first. It is in the worst of the shape out of the two, in my opinion, as far as frame rails go. As far as even the rear end goes, I think the rear end's actually more pooched in this car. So yeah, so stay tuned. Sanfilippo Smash is going to be coming up next, and it's going to be one heck of a weekend. I can tell you that. I'm going to be absolutely exhausted, but we'll get her done. And we got to get battery box from the Regal. I know it's the only reason I was going to run the Regal first, is because it has the battery box and the battery cables and all that in it. But at the end of the day, I really want to run this Lumina first. So we'll get that all swapped back into this car, and we'll be ready to run the Lumina one more time. I think she's only probably got one more run left in her as far as the front frame rails go. We'll see. If it does survive for some reason, I really don't want it to, but if it does survive for any reason, it's halfway decent, well, then I don't know what I'm going to do with it. To be honest, I'm probably just going to end up scrapping it anyway, as much as that sucks, because this motor actually is a direct fit, basically, into my father's 97 Lumina, which it currently has a bad motor in it. And if there's anything left of this car and it still runs and drives, then it might be worth just saving the powertrain out of it while it's still good, and unless I really overheat it. But I don't know, we'll see. I'm still all up in the air as far as that goes. The Regal I'm not concerned about saving as far as the powertrain, so we can let that thing eat. So stay tuned, guys. Sanfilippo's coming up. I appreciate everybody that's watched my videos and congratulated me on a good win at Brookfield once again. And let's see if we can't finally do or pull out a first with the good old Lumina. I know she's pretty beat up, but darn it, I think she's still got one more good run in her. So stay tuned. Like I said 3 times now, I'm trying to emphasize that. I think it's going to be a great show. So like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye, everybody.